On this episode of Budget Bill Garage, Taylor's got a date with a tranny.
Really?
I've been waiting to use that joke for like a week. Alright, so we wanted to address this awesome bumper we got. It was free and it's so mangled. Honestly, we got it. We weren't even gonna put it on. Really, the reason we got it was for these lights and the brackets and everything else around it. Because usually when you buy a new bumper, it doesn't come with any of that stuff. And since this thing was actually free, we wanted the brackets. We were kind of like, hey, let's hang it. That area looks okay. Basically, from here this way is okay. All of this is absolute junk. We bolted it in on that side. We were gonna try to give this a bit of a twist and see if we can get any of it to kind of mingle back, and we'll worry about that later. But for now, we're gonna jack this thing up and start pulling that transmission out so we can put in our new one.
So what are we looking at, Nick?
This cheap Chinese off the internet transmission jack adapter, which is not ours. I wouldn't have bought this thing. It's a buddy's of mine. He was like, yeah, I got one of those. And I was like, no, you don't. And he showed me this, and it is awful. I would not recommend buying something like this. I don't even think it's going to work. Like, the whole idea is it's supposed to cradle your transmission, and you get to bolt it, you know, like with a chain or strap over, so it'll hold your transmission. You'll be able to change angle with this. A good transmission jack is awesome. If you got the money for one, you do it a lot. I recommend getting one. I don't do it enough to like have bought one. Usually I just put a board on a jack and we're good. But it's like, you have these bolts sticking up right here. The whole idea is it's supposed to cradle the pan and everything. But like with those two bolts there, I wouldn't want to set my pan on those. What if it dents them? What if it dents my pan? And then this whole thing, which is like probably $40, ruins my awesome transmission, which was much more than $40. So we may or may not be using that. We'll see in a minute when I get it. We'll get the car jack, get it under it, and then we'll see. That's kind of a big deal. I genuinely feel like we can't catch a break on this car now. We got it up in the air. When you pull out your trans, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to come off. I'd start by taking off at least one of the terminals on the battery, because you got to pull the starter, and you know, you don't need that thing arcing on you. So we'll do the battery, pull the starter. You pretty much usually have to pull your exhaust off and then drive shaft, and then we'll unbolt the bad boy and kind of pull it away. I mean, there's a few more things like the tranny lines and stuff. Yeah, now that I'm saying it out loud, there's like 20 things. So we'll just get to it and show as we go, I guess.
All right, so we got the battery disconnected. The next step we're going to be doing is just taking out the exhaust. So let's get dirty. Know what I mean?
Is that like your catchphrase, dude?
Let's get dirty.
Yeah, there you go. You need a catchphrase. I need a catchphrase. That's spinning, dude.
But I'm rotating the other nut faster.
is that what's happening?
Bolt faster.
I like that. I'm spinning the other nut faster. So. See? Oh no, I scratched my awesome mufflers. Oh. Quality parts too.
Jesus, almost knocked all the rust off that thing.
No amount of banging can knock the rest off of this thing. Oh hey, while I'm under here, I'll just do the drive shaft actually. Alright, so undoing the drive shaft. Here's the thing about this. You can pretty much never get a socket wrench on there, which is what I want. You can usually not even get a ratchet wrench on there. But that's okay. The important thing is, once you pull this thing off, this guy right here, the caps on this, can fall off. You don't want them to. They've got needle bearings in them. If you lose all those little things, you've pretty much ruined it. It's terrible. I hate it. Alright, so what you're doing is you're pushing the drive shaft in so the yoke slides in the transmission to bring this far enough out to come down. But this is the piece I was talking about, these caps here. So pull it off like I did, nice and gently, without ruining anything, and then get a bunch of electrical tape or duct tape or whatever. These things are kind of greasy, so it kind of is difficult at first, but once you get a couple rounds, it'll stick to itself. And then when you pull this out, put a pan under the transmission because it'll probably start leaking a bunch of fluid right out of it, the back of it, because it won't be stopping it. All right, you ready? Because this is about to.
Well, I mean, so I don't. Yeah.
What? What?
Like, yeah, I'm ready enough. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but
Maybe nothing. Maybe this is just gonna slide out. Nope. See? That's why you have a catch pan. Dude, is this the first time we've ever actually caught fluids in a catch pan? Like, successfully? So yeah, this is why we can never get a gear. Also, I don't know what these wires do. God damn it.
throw a tool.
Throw a tool. Yeah, throw a tool. That's what I always do. Okay. I was hoping we'd be able to pull the transmission down without removing the headers. But that's definitely not the case, unfortunately. We have to remove those headers for like the 10th time. Trying to do it. And I wanted to see if this little guy would pull it off. Oh man, that's the most amazing thing ever.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
I got it.
Alright, now we still have to take the starter off. We got the headers off, got the exhaust off. But while I'm in here, I'm going to go ahead and get the top two bell housing bolts, which is the 9/16 wrench. And I'm just going to crack these guys loose. Obviously, the transmission's not quite ready to go out. We still have linkage and stuff. But these ones up here are a lot easier to get at from the engine bay. Alright, see that? That's bolt number 1. This thing's practically out. Transmission's got like 5 minutes.
Nick doesn't know how to camera, so starter's out.
I thought it was
Thumbs
recording.
up.
We need to pull. I mean, we got a few more things left to do, but we need to pull the torque converter bolts out. So I'll crank the motor over, and then you can pull the bolts out. Both jobs are boring, lame. But
Neat.
that's okay. Yeah, neat. That's the exact word for that. That's neat. All right, let's do that. Torque inverter, boy.
God forbid the torque gets inverted, you're done.
You're that's
I'll tell you what, boy. If I know one thing,
yeah, inverted torque is just a long time torque.
Alright, so what we're doing now is removing the torque converter bolts. I'm going to be obviously loosening them, and Nick's going to be above me rotating the engine so we can gain access to all of them. I got it.
There you go. You ready to pull the whole thing out?
No. Well, yeah, but I'm looking for the nut that randomly flew in. Oh, found it. Alright, cool.
All right, you ready? I'm going to roll it. Let me know when you see the next one.
Sure. Imagine you got a ways to go.
Good compression motor.
Just relaxing over here. Alright, there you go. That's good.
Dang it. Should have pulled the spark plugs out.
Yeah.
It's so much easier to rotate the motor if the spark plugs out.
Alright, just 3 of them, right?
Yep.
Alright.
We good?
Bolts out.
Sun's up,
Yeah, sun's out, guns out, I guess. Transmission lines, there's 2 of them, we need to take them out, so we're using a 1/2-inch wrench.
Next thing we're going to do is make a huge mess. Really all that's left is the actual cross member, and then the bell housing bolts, and then we'll just drop the thing. See how this thing just slid back like that? That was awesome. You see we are disconnected from the engine now.
Wow.
I know, that's cool. Well, the inner workings are. Not the actual bell housing. Because otherwise it wouldn't be just chilling under here. Alright, let's do this. Alright, so, like I suspected, this awesome trans jack was not awesome. Nor is it even a trans jack. No. But we are just going to use the actual platform. So we got rid of the stupid ears that are supposed to hold it, which would have really come in handy. But it's not that big of a deal. So we're just going to set this guy here and lower it down slowly. We haven't taken out all the bolts yet. We really just wanted to test and see if it would fit under it. So we're going to do what we got to do. And start undoing the bolts once I have this thing a little pressure off of it. So go ahead and pump that thing up a couple times.
One win.
Right there. Cool. now we can go ahead and undo some stuff. I am going to support the motor with like a block of wood and the other jack, just to keep it from leaning. We do have a pretty solid mount on the actual engine mount, so I don't think it would tilt much, but it'll help. So I'm going to do that. But first I'm going to get to some of these bolts, because right now it's being supported by this. So yeah, let's get to it. Such a noob. All I'm trying to do is get a little bit of support under this oil pan. But you want to use a block of wood to even out the force and the weight kind of it sitting there. You don't want it to bend the pan in any way. So right now it's just touching. It's just enough to, it's not enough to tilt the motor or anything. That's where I want it. So what we're doing here is just this awesome lip here, obviously. This, a lot of the times, will really limit the amount of fluid coming out of this thing. This is just a bunch of zip ties I zip tied together, which I guess I really didn't need that many of. But it's too late. There's no going back now. So make it nice and tight. Not like crazy tight, doesn't really matter. You just don't want a ton of it coming out and around. So this will catch most of the fluid. Not all, I promise. But, you know, a good amount.
Oh, Invincible Extremes.
That's
nice,
cool.
Dude.
Yeah, I follow that guy. Yeah, we met him at the Roadkills at Tie Drags. He was a really cool dude. I like him. I follow him a lot. I like his, he's got that attitude where, like, he's just gonna make it happen, and I like that. So, it's unbolted. We'll jack up the trans jack just a bit, and we will knock the transmission cross member out. And then really we'll just kind of pry them apart and lower the jack slowly, and hopefully not crush any of our fingers, toes, or brains. Yeah. Brains?
Don't touch my brains.
No, it's fine. You do it real slow. It'll be easy. It's gonna come right out. Because I said that, it's not gonna. Alright, that's sliding back the cross member. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is try and pull it away a bit. Does it look like it came away?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look very stable, but yeah, no, it's definitely, can't really see it on camera, but it's separated for sure.
Oh no, we're not hung up on something? That's as low as this thing goes because the trans jack sucks. Fuck. Yeah, we should have thought about that. I'm gonna go up a bit. Yeah, man. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. So we'll put a jack there. Jack's in there. A little bit more. A little bit more.
More?
Nope.
How's that?
Yep. All the way. You good? Alright. Pull out slowly. Alright. A little more. Now, come down. Slow.
Get it out of the way?
Yeah. I was wondering why that was getting heavier. Alright, go down. Alright. Now, I don't think this thing's going to come out from under it like that. Hold on a second.
You got the jack in the way?
Not now. I can't rotate this anymore. We need to go higher or something. Alright. back this thing up. Get out of here. Fuck it. We're done trying to play nice. Okay, don't break that. Alright, transmission's out. Move that jack. Alright, we're gonna make a mess. I'm gonna pull this out. Let's rotate. I have it under the jack wheel, of course, like a moron.
Oh, yeah.
So it's stuck. Oh well. Guess we're making a mess. Now, I don't want to take that jack out from under the oil.
Oh, yeah, I know. Maybe tough
There we go.
There we go.
That was easy enough. That's my hand. We are pulling out carpet. I gotta put a new shifter in anyways. And I figure the carpet sucks, so we'll pull that thing out. And then I figure we'll get new carpet, put in the new shifter. We'll get new seat covers, but use the old seats. And we'll make this look like a normal place to be. 'Cause if I'm road tripping in it, it's when we're road tripping in it. I really don't want to be in anywhere this carpet that smells like cigarettes still. So I know that has nothing to do with the transmission, but I figured we already had to bolt in a shifter. We might as well pull the carpet up and leave it with no carpet for a while at least. And that's it. This will take me another minute, and we'll get back to doing transmission stuff.
Oh.
So that just this hole isn't even drilled. It's like he punctured it with like a pickaxe. You know, in no way is that rounded or anything. Oh man, look at these. Like, what is the purpose? Oh man, it's so bad. All right.
Breathe it in, boys.
Classic. So we're gonna be doing some floor pan patching soon. Like this much here and that much there, and there's no way that's good. You know what? You just gotta keep reminding yourself, like, this was $1,200. Like, you know, at the end of the day, we're ahead. I feel good about this. I still feel that this was a sound investment of our time and resources. Alright, so this is our shifter. It's a B&M, not a mega shifter, basically that. It does ratchet. I'm just trying to figure out where I want it. I don't want to... You want to be comfortable in your car, especially if you're going to race your car. You don't want to feel weird in it. This right here is a 400 turbo transmission. It's a 3-speed instead of our 2-speed. And in my opinion, as far as classic transmissions go, classic automatic transmissions go, this is the best one. I don't think there's a better one. For the amount of money it takes to make this thing take 1,000 horsepower, like, this is the best. Anything can be built. This thing can just be built cheaper and stronger. So I'm a big fan of the 400 turbo. That's what we have. That's what we're putting in. And we should be able to take any modification we do to this thing. So, awesome. Right now, I'm just taking this out of this mount. We'll bolt this on the tail, and then we're going to slide it in and see what we have to do to get this thing bolted up. Alright, so when we used that cheap Chinese, awesome, cheap Chinese trans jack that didn't work at all, it really didn't help. It wouldn't work. We had to switch it to other things. So I got this other idea. It's just a block of wood. We drilled a hole in it, and now that is in there. Should be somewhat captive. And now I'm going to bolt it to the jack so it's just a little bit more stable. I'm not looking for anything perfect. I would just like it to not have to worry about teetering it a tiny bit and it sliding off. So I'll tighten this down and we'll have something to put the jack on. if you're at home and you got spare wood lying around, if you have like a square, you know, piece of plywood, that might help too. Just screw it to that and you'd be good. It's temporary, but I think it'll help a lot right now. So cool. We'll do that. We'll move this under, put it in place, and we'll be good to go. Before we did this, I wanted to show the torque converter. It's already in. It's fully seated. Make sure you fully seat these. They should click it like 3 times. Wiggle them back and forth until they're all the way in. When you buy one, usually it ships like this, bolted all the way down, so they know it's fully engaged. You put it in there. We bought this one from a local builder. It's fully seated. It already has fluid in it. If you have a brand new one that you bought, put at least a quart in it. You know, fill it all the way up. Let it overflow. It doesn't matter. Put it on. You don't want this thing spinning dry when you first fire it up. So add fluid. Make sure it's fully engaged. I like to leave this on until I'm basically have it in position and I'm about to lift it all the way up, just so you know it doesn't slide off the splines. It shouldn't. But really, if you put this thing in not engaged, you just gotta take it back out and put it back in. It sucks. So keep an eye on that.
Just some leftover wood from the bus, and that's not only the thing that's supporting it. We've also got the other piece that
We drill the hole in and put the bolt in.
we drilled the hole to put the bolt in. So obviously
We
that
didn't-
goes there.
We
and
didn't
that,
put the car high enough to just slide it under. But that's alright. We'll put this under, we'll get it centered, and then we'll kind of lift it onto it. It's not that heavy, believe it or not. It's just, transmissions as a whole aren't super heavy when they're just like 3 speeds like this. They're just awkward for trying to get it up there on just sitting on a little jack base like that.
Oh, sorry, buddy. Damage done. I can get under the other side and pull it.
Yeah. That's funny. Okay. Try and slide it a little more. Alright. That's pretty lined up. Okay. Let's see if I can.
Fuck, this is gonna be hard.
Nah,
Lifting this from this angle?
it'll be fine. Alright, we're good.
It's like halfway on. We need
No,
some
it's
more
all-
this way.
We're okay. Yeah, we need. Perfect. Amazing.
That was easy.
I told you it would be. Okay. That was awesome.
Oh, hold up.
Get it on that.
We're off.
I moved that, don't worry.
Okay, there we go. We need to go forward about.
There you go. There you go. Cool. Oh, dude, it just snapped together. That was it. Hold on, let me put a bolt in it. Should not have gone better. So here we are. Transmission's in. We went relatively well, relatively easily, believe it or not. We got pretty lucky. The cross member, the El Camino's already drilled for like 12 different ones. So really, once we put the mount in, the bolts lined right up. The next thing we're doing is installing the shifter and everything that goes with it. So that guy, which is the actual shift lever, we'll put this guy on, which holds the actual cable. Here's the cable right here. So we'll get that. If you've ever put one of those in, they take a bit of adjustment, so that's going to take a while. Probably won't show you all that because that's a little bit boring, but yeah, we're just going to keep going, I guess. I absolutely hate this part. See, your transmission pan is it's torqued in like inch pounds, so it needs like no force at all. So whenever I do it, I don't like to use a wrench or like a long socket wrench. I like to use like the stubby,
Right.
just so I don't over tighten it at all. Because if you
squeeze the gasket too.
yeah, if you over tighten it, you'll squeeze the gasket and it'll leak. And not only that, you'll dimple the pan a bit, and then it just won't seal up again. And you can take the pan off and like knock the dimple down with like a ball peen hammer or something. But it's just such a pain when you do something like that. The other problem is a lot of times you get like what we're doing right now. They need spacers, so if you don't have long enough bolts, like these ones might not be long enough actually. In fact, these ones probably aren't long enough. You're kinda. I think I'll have some lying around, but they're definitely not long enough. Alright, let me find some bolts. Dang it. First, second, third, neutral, reverse, and drive. Yeah, they're all there. It's cool. And this guy's got a loop around in a safe environment. They want like nice big loops. Usually you can go up and down. Make sure you stay clear of your drive shaft. This guy goes through, connects to there. So we've got all these wonderful parts. Start with one of these. On the outside. Then the other gold washer and the other nut. Alright, so we're going to spin this spirally guy down until it fits in there kind of nice. Let's see if I can get this cotter pin in. Alright, so the cotter pin is in. But I'm not going to bend it until I know we're good. Alright, so we're in first, alright?
Okay. Yeah, it's moving. Yep. Okay. Yeah, it's moving the whole time.
That should be parked.
Yeah, it looks right.
Alright, so hold on. Try and, alright, so you saw the direction it went when it went to park?
Move. All the way forward, yeah.
Try and push it forward a little bit. Does it feel like it's flipped in?
Yeah, I can't move it.
Okay, good.
Alright, next step.
Torque converter bolts.
Torque converter bolt. We've got our torque converter bolts. We're going to go ahead and install those again. We're adding a dab of blue Loctite on there, just to keep it secured. And we're going to torque it to 30 foot-pounds, so let's do it. Let's get dirty.
Let's get dirty. Torque converter bolts are a little more fine to reconcile, so right there, perfect. Alright, next one.
Whew! Hot dog!
Yeah, the transmission is in, everything's bolted up. The only thing we haven't done yet is the drive shaft. We have to get that thing shortened by like 1.5 inches.
And the dipstick.
Oh, we need a dipstick. The other one didn't fit, which is no big deal since we can't actually drive it. I gotta throw the headers on, and the exhaust probably won't go back on, but who cares? That's really it. I hope you liked the episode. If you liked it, like, comment, subscribe.
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up, yeah. And that's it. Hopefully we'll get a couple more things buttoned up on this thing and take a road trip. That's what we need to do. Take a road trip.
Also, we should totally, well, we want to ask you guys, where should we go? So we're in Southern California. We're thinking maybe Sierra Nevadas. We're willing to go all the way up north towards Oregon. So if you guys got any ideas, a fun road trip idea, that would be awesome. Let us know in the comments, and we'll figure something out. All right, guys. Catch you on the next one.